some tough decisions to make here in the next few days before next week's deadline. I'm just curious, what's the most important thing for you for that kind of third running back? Well, what do you want to have that guy be really good at?
Well, being kind of, just thrown in this thing, you don't really think about just individual positions, but collectively as a whole. What we want to see is some speed, violence, great vision running the football, especially, tomorrow. You got to take care of the football. You got to protect the quarterback. That's what we want to, that's what we want to see. And that's not just for a single position, but at every position as we complete this thing. And, the hardest part sometimes is, being current, judging what is happening currently, and then also still trying to take in the history of what everybody has done since March, right? And getting down here to the end and making sure it's a totality decision and not a 1 to 2 day decision.
Your group had some explosive runs, multiple guys yesterday in that full team scrimmage. How encouraging was that, given particularly David and Jameer won't see probably any more preseason action?
Oh, very, very encouraging. I thought, Coach put together a great plan for a game, if you will, and for offense and defense. We both came out and competed at a high level. Seeing those guys in an explosive run, though, it really takes your eyes back to who we've been focusing on in our room for a long time is our O-line. They were fantastic. Some of those holes I think I could have gotten through. And collectively, what I did like to see from those guys is what we did on the second level of some of those runs. Our O-line is getting us to the second level, sometimes even to the third level. But the true measure of guys and their talent level that you just can't coach is what we do when we get to the second and third level. Can we create and be explosive enough to get us to an explosive play?
Such an evolving door of sort of that, those back end running backs, just guys retiring and injuries and whatnot. Sort of opportunity has that made for the rest of the guys, and even the guys that have come in and been here for a week, really, a lot of times they come in and they don't have a chance, and they seem like they really have a shot.
Well, it's great. I think you just hit it right on the head, right? But this is the business of what we do. It's a physical business, but also it's the guys not only physically can come in and do it, but when you're in a situation in camp, you come in, you see a guy come in, sign one day and play the next. You know that there's a mental capability there for them to go out and execute, keeping guys off the quarterback, but also running the ball, all the appropriate footworks that we have. It's tough and difficult, but what it has done is given them the ability to be seen. A lot of times, like you say, when you come in those roles, you're not thrown into a situation where you're even getting in the game. You're not even getting any playing time. So it's really helped us from an evaluation standpoint. We're able to completely and fully evaluate, like I said, from the beginning all the way to now makes it tough. But currently where we are now, we still have to evaluate these guys. So we are getting the ability to see them all.
Third running back obviously plays a big role on special teams. So what is sort of the balance of what you need out of that position as a backup running back versus what
you know what? I'm going to coach my guys. I'm going to let Phip make the decisions on what he's looking for. But we're very encouraging to all of our guys, not just the 3, 1, 2, and 3, wherever they can help us in special teams. Special teams is the one time where we truly get to compete together offensively and defensively as one cohesive unit. So there is some team building that goes with that as well. But that's a huge component. We can't, you can't just have, 3 guys that are not going to participate in special teams or 2 guys that are not going to participate in special teams, and even 1 guy. All of our guys in some phase or form in that room will participate. It's just that is a core position and a core, they bring core value to our special team. So they do have to have a lot of special team skill there.
I've got a quick question for you. Obviously, you guys are one of the few teams in the league invested highly in the running back, and Jameer Gibbs. So it's going to be a lot of eyes on him going into this year. I guess, what's your evaluation of him early, and how will you keep him, focused and locked in when it's going to be eyes all over him because he was picked so high? Obviously, wasn't in his control, but just.
Yeah, so, one of the things is when you're in the building and when you're on the field competing, that's the outside noise. I think the thing that humbles you is when you see all the professionals that are coming through these doors every day, so you don't get a chance to get too high or too low. We will bring him along. We've brought him along kind of quickly in a lot of these situations, but that's what he's been brought here to do. And as far as value in that position, I think that this organization has always really, really valued the position. So, I mean, it's good. The expectations are great. You know, if you come in without any expectations, probably not going to be as successful or achieve what you want to achieve. But that goes with the territory. I mean, there's only 32 jobs like he has in the world. So there's scrutiny that comes with all of our guys, definitely a heightened sense of awareness when it comes to bringing in a guy. But it just shows you the value that we do place on him and the value that the organization places on not only him, but the entirety of our position and what we did in the offseason, going to get David to complement the two. The two of these guys complement each other well, so we're looking forward to that.
I know you were new to the job then, you know, once he was drafted, but how much was your voice heard in that room as far as bringing him in? I mean, was that a guy you was pushing for?
Hey, we're a team, all right? We're a staff and we're a team. I just think that if you look at it, right, there's a lot of pieces. There's a lot of voices that, you know, have a lot to do with anything. Of course, you know, Brad and Coach, you know, kind of leading what we do. But collectively, I think we all feel really, really good about who he is and where he is right now.
What's impressed you most about what he's done so far?
Learning capabilities. We've kind of opened it up. We said that we were going to slowly get it to him in the beginning, and then we just kind of threw it all at him. He really works at it. If you look at his notebook, if you look at his, you know, his note taking and the questions that I get over text message or coming in a little bit earlier, trying to get a jump on the rest of the guys. So, you know, from that standpoint, physically, he's been on point. I mean, he's quick, he's fast, he sets blocks. So, but the challenge is that every week is another step in this league, right? You know, I told one of our coaches yesterday, this is a yesterday league, right? What did you do yesterday? And that leads into today. And then now what did you do today? So, you know, quick turnaround most of the time with these guys. Like where he is, want to continue to see him progress.
How difficult has it been to have Montgomery in the room, a veteran, with the rookie?
Great question. All right, great question. And it's been good for a lot of reasons, right? The level of professionalism you learn not from coaches. You learn from your peers, right? That's what you do. When I came into the league as a rookie, it was just, I had great guys around me. This was the standard. The standard is set. If you get off the standard, you're not worried about your coach saying something. You're worried about the rest of the grown men in the room saying something. So I think it's been great. His leadership capability is going to help Ja turn into a leader quickly. Like, I think that he is also the guy that was able to, you know, kind of, you know, break Ja's initial shell to be able to talk and, you know, communicate, or give him the ability to talk around the guys a little bit more, because Ja came in humble, and I like that. And now we're trying to do a good job of pairing those two together, and the teaching that goes on the field that's not coaching has been very good for him.
These two most recent additions to the room, I'm curious how intentional was finding some extra beef out of the running back room?
You know, I just try to, whatever they, you know, put in the room, I try to make sure that we coach them. Of course, with these two guys, you know their names, you know their body of work. So I felt really happy. Of course, you get, at this time in the camp, sometimes it's hard to find, you know, the caliber of backs that we were able to find. And that just is just a credit to our scouting department of being able to just scour who's out there and bring them in, and then guys that were ready to go as soon as they got here. It wasn't you know, I think Benny got here one day before, and the next day, you know, he's he's out on the field, and I think Ezigbo was a couple of days. So we're happy about those guys being able to find that type and caliber of players. And physically, you can see there's a physical presence about both of them. So I think they did a great job of finding those two.
I wanted to ask you about you quickly. You know, when you got here, there's a level of unknown when you take a new position, no matter how much you think you learned through an interview process. So with the assistant head coach title on top of the running backs coach, you know, what have you learned about how you fit here, and what opportunities are being presented for your own development as a coach?
Oh yeah, definitely. So the fit here is always when you come into a new situation, you always want to build from the foundation up. So that's what we tried to do. It was more about communicating. I thought Ben, first of all, did a great job of just communicating his thoughts and, you know, how he saw the position, how he saw the offense. So it gave me a good understanding. So there was a learning process there. The second part of the development is just my conversations with Dan, you know, whether it's time management, Whether it's the opportunities to speak to the team and be in front of the team. He's put me in front of the team on several occasions now. He gives me different abilities to not only interject the things that I've learned before from a schematical standpoint, but also kind of some leadership capabilities when we're trying to grow the team. So I speak to the team a lot about, continuity, the things that it takes to get from being good to great and then from great to unstoppable. A lot of that has nothing to do with scheme. It has to do with fit, it has to do with timing, but it also has to do with the ability of the coaches to understand that it's a player-led team. So we're really trying to push that. So I've done a lot of learning there. And then the second part of it is that I feel like what I've been able to do by setting in, meetings or just setting in our evaluation meetings, I'm getting a better understanding of, what we're looking for defensively, how it all works together. And as you go on and you grow in this business, one thing that you know is that your expertise on one side of the ball can only be greatly enhanced by more expertise from the other side of the ball. So Dan has given me the ability to do that. Any questions or any conversations that I need to have with AG, that's been opened up. And then offensively, being able to do whatever I need to do with Ben has been opened up. And then when I do have the ability to stand in front of the team, I'm not standing in front of the team, right? Dan is standing in front of the team. AG is standing in front of the team. And Ben is standing in front of the team. I'm simply the guy speaking the words.
So you mean offense as a whole. What's maybe something that stood out to you as the regular season comes pretty close here?
Our offensive line, I really, I've seen movement in offensive lines in the run game, but the collection of being able to protect it and run it the way that we're able to run the football and protect the quarterback has really stood out to me. I've seen a lot of ball. I've been around a lot of ball, and not calling one guy out from that group because all of them deserve it. But late last night I just went back and looked at the film, and when you watch number 58, he's special. I mean, he could probably play a number of positions outside of the O-line position, skill included. So O-line wise, definitely they've stood out. Yeah. I don't know who's getting him on the ground, and then if you do try to sub him, I don't know who can get him to come out if we do give it to him once.
Just to follow up what Justin asked about your personal development. You were head coach, obviously, and even associate head coach at the college level, so some of that is not entirely new, but at the NFL level, is this the first time that you've spoke in front of a team like that and sat in some of those meetings?
No, I actually started, being more in that type of a role last year, a couple years ago, which was really good for me. But the biggest difference is when you're going from this role into this role in a new place in the NFL, we're all grown men, right? So there is a level of respect between, your peers. These guys are adults. So you also have to learn and understand that this is a situation where it's give. It's not just take, right? You have to give. And the way that you do that is you have to build a relationship's genuine. It's not you do as I say because I'm telling you. It's like, hey, here's the why. This is what we're doing. This is why we're doing it, how we're doing it. And then now let's build this personal relationship too, so that when we do get to a point or an impasse where we don't think the same, we know that we can collectively leave the room at the end of the day, whatever's said, get to a spot and move on. Yeah.
What you're learning, what you're doing will help you become a head coach one day, help you in sort of that.
Right now, what I want to be? I want to be the best at what I'm doing. 100%. There's no question. And what I've found is as long as I'm continuing to do that, the progression will happen. I'm around great people, first of all. So the first thing you have to do is surround yourself with great people, right? You got to realize constantly that none of us are as smart, or none of us are as smart as all of us, right? So every day I'm able to pick up stuff from Ben, I'm able to pick up stuff from AG, Hank, all of our guys are just pouring. I feel like they're pouring into me. And anything that I can do to help any of those positions, I've been able to do it as well.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.